Yeah, because I got kind of involved in discussions with other questions with you guys, some of you guys, about what do we have to do an interactive live remote demo. And we had, Conover come in, and we had Betty, and we had Belcher. And you can see all over the AAW board and all these online events that people are having, that all the people who are regular teachers are setting themselves up in some way to actually make videos and broadcast live interactive remote demos in some way from their own workshops. We've so far gotten away without doing that by both inviting people in who've been doing it who are equipped for it, and by doing short videos and sharing those and editing those and doing commentary over videos. And so that's worked pretty good as an alternative. But still, the question came up of what do we have to do if we want to do actual live interactive remote demos. And I got very interested in it for my own purposes and began to try and make a setup. And when these questions came up, and Barry forwarded a report I did a few days ago for the club. And I'll just give you a quick slide here that shows what I'm talking about. I think you're seeing that. Are you seeing a diagram?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the basic setup that a lot of them are using. Now, C1 is a laptop or a phone or something so the demonstrator can talk to the audience and see what the Zoom feed is. C2 is an overhead camera. C3 is usually a camcorder, and the club owns a camcorder on a tripod, so it can move around and give a tailstock view or a view from the other side of the lathe or a long shot, or it can even move over to the bandsaw or the grinder. And then C4 is a laptop that runs the setup. The camera on that often isn't a whole lot of use, but the keyboard is essential, and it's where everything has to feed into to coordinate out to the Zoom feed. It's possible to record a demo where the operator works the laptop. It is not possible, I don't think, to do a live interactive remote demo unless maybe you're Cindy. And I think Cindy has an assistant on site as well. It's like patting your head and rubbing your belly. It's just too much to do. So the laptop, instead of looking at the demo guy as it is in this diagram, would be offside with a tech person running the laptop. And with that setup, it's quite possible to do interactive remote demos. Now, that's a diagram. What's it actually look like in the flesh? Well, next month I'll let you know because I'm working on it, making a setup. It is one that I'm making for my own purposes, but the club will be able to use it for as long as we're in this situation. The thing is, what happens next is, what does a hybrid meeting look like? So if we want to try and have a hybrid meeting with a demo, then you've got the interactive remote setup picks up and drops in a room with a bunch of socially distanced pink circles there. And they've got to watch the Zoom people. How do they get in? Well, that would be on the large TV with a sound bar somewhere in the room, or maybe two, like we've all seen at symposiums. So this is your basic demo setup with the tech guy over here so he can run switch cameras. And I guess there's probably going to be microphone management in a setup like this as well. This camera would be positioned wherever it needs to be to either show the demo or show the people in the room if it's a discussion. And this screen would show the Zoom feed, which would either be the remote members or what's going out from the demonstration. So that's also a possible setup that a club like ours could do. There's a third situation, and that's where you don't have a live demo, but you just try and have a hybrid meeting. And maybe the demo comes in by a remote feed. So the people in the room see it on the TV, same as the Zoom people see it on their screens. You could have a speaker in the room in that situation, and you'd still have the tech and the laptop and the camera to point at people in the room. And you'd have to deal with how they get how sound works. That's all a bit of unknowns. The other thing that I've been finding is a big unknown if for any of these setups, especially a tech setup like this one, is where are the lights? Lighting is really quite an issue. So while the setup can be made quite portable, the lighting is between the setup and the lighting, it's quite a lot to port. It's better off set up someplace. So that's really just a report to let you know on what I've been doing. And the question that comes up is, what does our club do going forward? Do we want to be a club that has hybrid meetings once people start getting back together? do we imagine we don't have to do anything? We can just say, okay, we're opened up again. Those who want to go to a real life meeting, go, and those who want to be on Zoom, though that's a choice we could make. All the way to the other way, we could commit and be a almost fully Zoom club. I mean, it's really a choice, and I'm not proposing that we try to answer that right now. We don't know enough. I'm just putting it to you that we're going to have to. We're in the middle of this, and we're going to need to decide what it is we want to do and equip ourselves at some point.
John, let me make a few comments on that.
Go for it.
The boom camera system that we have has a camera on it that is capable of recording. We used them at the symposium, and they all did record, not for the purpose of distributing the recording, but for checking out the videographer. So they can record. The other thing is that camera boom also has a monitor on there.
No,
so that the camera operator can see the shot that he's putting out.
Ron, it doesn't anymore. If there ever was one, it's no longer with it. I have the boom, and I have all the cases that came with it. There's no monitor anymore. The boom can record, so can the laptop. If the boom is, I'm putting the camera 3 is the boom camera. It can be on the boom or it can be on a tripod.
Yeah. Well, those monitors are pretty small, about 7-inch monitors. They're not very expensive. And the other thing is the lighting. That was one of the things that Rick Baker, of course, he did all of the design of all that. He was very concerned about the lighting, and those lighting racks that he's made are very effective. Some of the aluminum channel uses may be a little expensive, but they are very effective if you want to use that.
Do you know where those are?
Rick Baker has them all at his storage.
Hmm.
We could probably get one and copy from it and make one, or borrow it whenever there's Atlantic's not using it.
The point, I think one of the points, Ron, that you're speaking to with this whole setup is that since we even made that boom in the camera, even our iPhones are getting much better as far as recording is concerned and video. So it's getting to the point where the computer technology has minimized so much that the camera and the recording system seem to be less important than the lighting system and the setup and making sure you've got the switches.
The laptop at the center, you see, the Mid-Atlantic system didn't use laptops. Now, most of the guys who are doing this are buying gamer level laptops with i5 processors for about $800. I am using a 2012 MacBook that I happen to have, and it works pretty good. If the club were to go into it, the club would probably want a gamer laptop. That allows recording. It allows recording from the Zoom call or directly from the cameras. So a setup like this can record video for YouTube or for use in a club meeting, and it can also handle a live remote demo if that's what we decide we want to do. I'm going to be setting my setup up in my basement, in my shop, and anybody in the 2 clubs who wants to use it for club purposes or their own purposes, I'll be happy to work with them. We'll run fans and wear masks and keep distant, and it'll be fine.
John, can I ask you a question? Do you have your keyboard, or at least the bottom part of your MacBook, in a bag?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, a bag goes on. It's not out when there's anything going on, except unless it's in a live demo. Yeah.
But even with a live demo, you might want to get like a newspaper bag, a clear bag that you can fit over it. I know you've got great dust collection system in your shop.
Yeah, I do.
A little bit can mess up and overheat the MacBook.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll do that. The other thing that's not shown in here is what I found is wireless sound canceling headphones have a microphone in them, and that works pretty good for sound for a demonstrator. And it also has the ability to cancel out the sound of the dust collector.
That's great.
So that's
pretty remarkable.
John, to be honest, with what you're setting up, from my perspective, I really like being able to get together on Thursday mornings or these remote meetings. So to me, I see going forward times when both the Zoom meeting is good, and also one live meeting says, I like to getting together with the guys and being able to touch wood and touch pieces. So I think going forward, I would anticipate continue to have Zoom meetings like we have at Thursday mornings, coffee hours and our club meeting. So I see a place for both ideas.
John, I have a question for you on your setup here with multiple cameras. How do you do the switching?
I do it in Zoom.
Yeah.
If you have a gamer laptop, you can do it with some rather good software called vMix. And if you're using all camcorders, there's a mechanical electronic switching thing that gives you a panel of numbers. But I found Zoom has excellent ability to do it. I can do it just fine in Zoom with a hotkey. It makes basically a wheel of camera to camera to camera. And then the man himself is on the C1 on the iPad. So he's always on to be able to talk into the iPad.
Yeah, we use at the Quad State Bodgers, we use the vMix.
Yeah, have you found it hard to learn or easy to use?
It's easy to use, flawless on the switching between the two cameras or multiple cameras. However, there is an audio lag.
I have a problem with it because it doesn't work with a Mac, and that's what I'm using as a MacBook. So I just decided I was going to learn everything that I could about Zoom. Zoom actually has 3 different ways of switching cameras. It's quite effective.
Good deal.
John,
Some of the live streaming that I've seen, Carl Jacobson, Martin Saban-Smith, and Mike Walt, all 3 of them have live YouTube streaming setups, which are similar to what you could use here, John, if you end up getting into a situation where we have a larger growing population. And as you and I talked, you want to limit the number of screens that we have here within Zoom.
Yeah.
But when you watch their live streams, Carl always has his wife as the control operator. The other 2 do it themselves, and it is pretty distracting sometimes when they have to reach over and sometimes there's a shot blocking because they forgot to hit that switch and whatnot.
Yeah,
So,
or your shoulder is right in front of the lens is what I
yeah,
find.
exactly. So I'd encourage some kind of director option there, somebody there to help out, keep an eye on what the live video feed is showing to help out.
Well, to that end, I guess what I also wanted to put it out there, if anybody who I have not already been working with in this who wants to get involved, you're more than welcome. I'd be happy to. I've been working with Doug a bit. I've been working with Barry a bit, and I'd be happy to. I've been working with Angelo. I'm going to work I'll work with anybody.
Well, if my time permits and you need me, I'd love to come over and help you with that and figure out, some of the issues, some of the lighting. I've done a lot of videography in the last 30 years. So
the lighting is a real issue. I've been using lights that I have, and I ordered some nylon cloth to try and filter some other lights that I have that are just too hot.
okay.
We'll see.
I'm going to make a contact to Rick Baker, see what he can help us out with.
That'd be real good. That'd be real good.
Yeah, good stuff.
Okay, I think that's yeah. I'll be ready with a demo of that by the next meeting. I'm going to test it out on the coffee hour. So coffee hour for the next few weeks is going to be subjected to radical video experiments. My concern is I'm right now managing this meeting. Am I still screen sharing? I want to stop that. Sorry. I'm looking at the gallery view, and I hope you are now too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm in managing these meetings and the Zoom, the coffee hour on a 27-inch monitor with a second screen. So I can see 49 at a time if I have to, and I can then page to the next 49. It's quite different looking at a little wee laptop screen. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. So we'll let coffee hour be the test bed for that.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. The Zoom sessions I do at work, I've got, like you just described, I've got a couple of curved 32s on my desk. And when we're, I might have 16 to 24 people on, but we're also going through contracts and we're going through some
Yeah.
issues where I've got to screen share legal documents. And when you kind of come down into a smaller screen, I mean, I've had some of these attendees show up with their iPhone and they're, oh, I'm just going to be on my phone. It'll be fine. I just kick them off.
Yeah.
You know, it's too much of a distraction. They were asking too many questions while you're moving along. So,
Well, in this, you see, in this situation, I can see all of you quite well. So if you're waving your arm or trying to talk, I will see you do that. And if the cat jumps through the screen and all the noise is coming for you, I can mute you if you haven't muted yourself. So that makes it possible to, it makes meeting management in this kind of context really quite easy.
yeah, good stuff.
Okay, that's my report.